My name is Ahiana Kanahele. I'm one of the petitioners. I live in Hilo. I worked up on Mauna Kea for about 7 years as a ranger up there for the Office of Mauna Kea Management. And yeah.
I know you've been here when you heard the representations or promises or descriptions being made by the University of Hawaii, the chancellor, and other people about what they promise or say they're going to do moving forward. Do you have confidence or believe them?
No, the short answer, no. I mean, like I tried to say earlier, it's an old story. Through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the construction boom, and just this, the old boy network. I mean, I'm sure putting this big scary group of people that are making all these decisions for us, but it's a lot more subtle than that. It's all, hey, we could get this done or push that through, or the land commission, land use doesn't have to do that, and I think this is all coming to a head right now. And this is the whole Mauna Kea thing, and the 20,000 people marching in Honolulu simultaneously, 10,000 in Maui, and around the globe. There's a lot of people in Europe. My sister just came back from Europe, and at every stop, they're teaching classes. But at every stop, it turned into a Mauna Kea meeting because the people in Europe know about it. They wanted to know more about it. There's worldwide support. I'm only going to speak for myself and our side.
I think a lot of the issues, it's things that if possibly more time had been spent, if people were more long-winded on both sides, maybe we wouldn't be as a community here where we are, but here we are. And I'm going to ask you this question to wrap up, but let me throw it out right here so you can think about it while I give you some background just so that you can see the context I'm asking it. My question is going to be, if there was one thing that the TMT, or we shouldn't say the TMT, the University of Hawaii, could do to prove to you that they are sincere, just one thing, might be even just a little thing, to demonstrate their good faith, because actions speak louder than words, what would it be? I believe in the rule of law. Okay? If the law says that people have the right to certain access under the law, they have a right to access. Whether it's cultural practitioners or whether it's a construction crew. I'll be just frank here. I'm not here to curry anyone's favor, because I think as citizens, people have the right to know what decision makers really think. What would be the one thing the University of Hawaii could do to try to chip away at the situation that we have here today?
I'm gonna go back and respond to your rule of law perspective first. I know you guys know more about law than me, but and thank goodness we have the First Amendment. But the law should be, it is hard and fast to keep order, but it also should be pliable, right? Dred Scott, Punana Leo, it was still illegal to teach Hawaiian language. They could have been arrested for teaching Hawaiian language at the time. So I just want to say that because, like how you did, breaking the law is not always injustice. Like Ken Lawson said, he teaches at Manoa, I believe he teaches at Manoa, teaches law. He said, he can teach, he said to his students, like, he can teach you guys law all day long, but I can't teach you justice. Justice is something is right and wrong inside. And the same thing with that thing being built up there. I worked up there for 7 years, and I seen all of her faces. I seen all the beauty up there. And like Commissioner Cabral mentioned earlier, she's afraid that, she mentioned Disneyland up there, and that used to be one of my old trites is that I used to be up there in a summit bowl sitting around and has these giant things buzzing away, and why don't they just put a Jack in the Box up here, so I can get curly fries while I'm up here, or a Jiffy Lube, because we got guys breaking down all the time. And that sounds ridiculous, but everybody has a limit. You know, maybe your guys' limit, or not you guys specifically, but maybe the government woven in with the UH and future observatories. Maybe their limit is 24. You know, maybe their limit is 32. Maybe they want to creep down the summit and build more. And for us, you know, my mom's generation stuff, their limit was 1 in, you know, the whole in 1961. And at this time, there's been a lot of floated through, and just like TMT tried to come through this time, they just push it through before back in the days. I have a lot of relatives and friends too who also worked on the things, and you know, we're a community. So although when they go home at night, the family's telling them, you know, that thing is wrong up there. But they still got to go work and weld up the Subaru, and so I just want to mention that as far as the complexities within the community, and talking about laws and how it should be hard and fast, but also pliable. You know, and thank goodness we live in the United States of America. We have the Constitution. But anyway, as far as what we can do to grow in trust, jeez, I mean, there's already 12 up there. They're going to build the biggest one of them all, twice as big as the last one. I mean, what's the last one? Subaru, I believe, was the last one. But Keck 1 and 2, it's going to be way bigger than that footprint. And I just want to say first that it's the whole slippery slope thing. When does it end?
I'm not asking for like something that is going to solve all the problems. I'm just asking, is there a step, even a really little step, that can be taken by the University of Hawaii as maybe just the little step to demonstrate good faith? The question is kind of throwing the ball in the university's court. What is the little step, or maybe hopefully not a little step, but what's the first step that can be taken to demonstrate that the university really is going to stand behind its word or representations that have been made here in this room or at this hearing?
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. Trying to overcompensate because people are like over here. I'm gonna say 2 parts to that. First, I'll answer your question. Jeez, little step. I guess the obvious thing, kind of what you're alluding to, is a few people on both sides sit down at a table and talk. And yeah, that would be my answer to that question. But you know, it's the whole thing is it's pretty clear. The dividing line is, I'm gonna say they, but TMT, they just want it built. The compromise, let's say they compromise. Okay, we tell them, TMT, what about you not build here? Then the conversation's over. We both go our separate ways, you know, say, okay, we won't build here. And then, so TMT comes back and says, okay, people of Hawaii, because not just Hawaiians, what about if we build our telescope, then we give you all of these, then we compromise and give you all of these things. We do this, we do A, we do B, we do C. And that negates the whole conversation too, because we don't want it even built at all. And we don't want to bribe for it. You know, and also too, in the past we've heard all of those things.
Well, okay, and yeah. I wanted to know your input because, you know, I do recognize that you have firsthand experience at Mauna Kea as a law enforcement officer, so I understand that, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No further questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Okuda. Commissioner Cabral.
I want to thank you for being here, for both of you, to taking this legal avenue. I know that there's that civil disobedience and protest is something we do have to cherish in our democracy, that we are able to do that, because in many throughout history, many places that's just not even allowed at all. And I like my fellow Commissioner Okuda. I actually was in Washington, D.C. in the 70s, way before you were dreamt up in protest there on items. So, but I guess and I want to thank you too for your good comments, because we really do as a group try and make sure that this is an open conversation, and that everybody has a right to say what they want to say. At the same time, we keep repeating the fact that we are really limited again by what the law allows us to do. And I do appreciate it, because we have, I remember Kie High School too, Mr. Collins, yes. So, but I guess you somewhat answered one of my concerns. My big thing was, that's the scary part, I guess, is that isn't there some place that negotiation can take place? Because I know it keeps being said on the TV, we're never going to negotiate, and that just, not by you, but, other people involved with the protest. And it concerns me, because I see this great, huge divide, and the pain it is really I'm here in Hilo. It's hurting our whole community. And it troubles me that we have, in a sense, a civil war going on with neighbors against neighbors and family against family in some cases in this matter. And I don't know what it would take, and I don't know, like you said, is one group definitely wants it built and the other group definitely doesn't want it built. And I guess was going to ask you if there was any room for compromise.
Thank you for bringing up that point about the schism that is going on now. But what I believe, if the building is built, if TMT is built, that schism is going to get way uglier. Because there's not going to be all of a sudden all of those who are anti-TMT. It's like, oh well, I guess we'll just have to get along with it. This thing is growing, and it has a life of its own, and so that's something that sounds unpleasant, but is a reality, I think. People. This thing is not organized by anybody. This resistance, and this is the biggest resistance yet. But people come out of the woodwork. They come from their homes. It's not like they're part of this group that says, hey, we should go. I mean, some people are. We should go support these people, the Hawaiians, the people of Hawaii. People come out of their homes because how they feel.
There's been a number of references where people referred to the fact that they were prohibited from going to the mountaintop and exercising their cultural and heritage rights. And I wanted to know if, I mean, obviously since July, there's access is restricted, but prior to that, especially we were working on the mountain, is that actually true? Because I know from my own son working there, in all of the 8 or 9 years he worked there, he said he only was aware of one time somebody ever coming up and asking. Now, people may have gone up and done their thing without anybody knowing, but he was never aware of anybody ever being stopped from doing anything.
At the roadblock where we have ours, the cops have theirs right above. The LNR's right there.
Well, yeah, now, but I'm saying before July, before this protest started.
It's public access?
Yeah, where people in those prior years when you were working there, where cultural practitioners stopped from being able to go up and practice anything?
No, the only thing you couldn't do is go into the ads quarry area and take rocks out. That's the only thing you couldn't do.
Okay.
But everything else, yeah. For one thing, it's public land.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can. We told people to hike only on the trails, but truth be told, they could hike wherever they wanted.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's so massive.
Yeah.
I really appreciate Commissioner Okuda and Commissioner Cabral trying to reach some common ground.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I'm hearing from you is there's no really compromise. So even if the two parties sit down together and negotiate, it's going to end up on a stalemate. So what do we do?
That's your question? What do we do? I think I kind of answered that already. I mean, we could sit down at a table, but there's those lines. And look, if it does get built, attitudes are going to come more ugly. That's what I foresee. I don't know if I'm right. Probably not. I've been wrong a lot. But if it doesn't get built, you know, even if, I mean, what's going to happen? Astronomers are going to be, oh, screw you, local people. Like, these people, we're from here. You know, we're the people who actually live here. And, you know, I have a couple young Hawaiian astronomer, one of my good friends, Mauna, he just graduated degree in astronomy from Manoa. He just did some time at, oh, I don't know if I should be blowing him out, but anyway, he just did his first time at the Gemini earlier this summer before this all went down. And, you know, his dad got arrested, and he's over there all the time. You know, we don't need all anymore. That's the slippery slope. Is TMT goes up, there's a big slippery slope. All this next gen stuff we want to come up, and you know, why not? Why not just take out the SMA, put up another TMT? We can do adaptive optics, and it's like, yeah.
I'm just kind of wondering what's gonna happen.
Well,
You know.
like for the permit thing, I just asked that, like I said earlier, if it's the proper thing to do, that they should get a boundary amendment. If that is correct by the law, if you have to do A to accomplish B, then you guys, if it's incumbent upon you to do that, then you should.
What I thought I heard you say as partial answer earlier, as partial answer to what Commissioner Axon eventually described was a pause of some sort would be the next step. Because I've heard it from you and I've heard it from others that, you know what, we definitely don't feel right now that there's any way in which we want to see the TMT built. But we could use a pause right now.
Yeah, I don't know if I said, I think Lance said that maybe. I don't know if I did, but that sounds good. That sounds like a good idea. Just to,
De-escalate was
yeah,
was that
just
the word
to
you
just
used,
to
maybe?
stop the boiling waters, you know. And like I said, it's only gonna get uglier. So just to get people to kind of calm down a little bit. A pause might be the call for the day.